734 days, 734 identical prayers, 734 answers. Silence. Have you ever sent someone a message and watched them read it, but they never replied? It drives you crazy, right? What if God does the same thing? What if his silence doesn't mean he's abandoned you, but that you're looking in the wrong place? Sound familiar? You pray like crazy, but God says nothing. You cry out, but there's no answer. So now what? Do you give up? Or maybe you just need to ask a different question. Today, I'm going to teach you how not to pray. Yeah, you heard that right. Forget the candles, forget the rosaries, forget the routines. We're about to do something that some churches don't always approve of. We're going to ask God the hard questions, cry out, doubt, demand answers, like Job, like Jesus in Gethsemane, like you last night. If after this video you say, "This is blasphemy," I get it. But if just one of you writes, "I feel the same way," then we start a revolution of honest prayers. Maybe you think, if God gave me a sign, I'd believe. But ask Peter. He didn't just see miracles. He lived with Jesus, and yet one day he still said, "Then he began to curse and swear, saying, 'I do not know the man.' And immediately a rooster crowed." Imagine this, a cold night, the smell of burning coals, the fire crackles, somewhere in the distance, a voice. "You were with Jesus, weren't you?" Peter's heart stops. He swallows hard and says, "No, I don't know the man." Then a rooster crows. Jesus turns his head, their eyes meet, the world shatters. Peter runs into the darkness and weeps. Why? Because fear can silence even the loudest testimony. But how did Christ himself pray? Not with memorized words, not with empty rituals. He spoke to the Father, honestly, raw. Even in his darkest moments, Jesus said, "Do not be like the pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words." Some theologians say God's silence is a test. Others say it means we're praying the wrong way. But who's right? We've turned prayer into a list of demands. But was that ever God's design? Pagans chanted spells, trying to wake up their gods. And we turned prayer into a shopping list. Thousands of Baal's priests, crying out, slashing themselves, screaming until they collapsed. And Elijah, he said just one sentence, "Hear me, O Lord," their noise against his silence, their desperation against his confidence. And God answered with fire. Not the length of the prayer, but the depth of the faith. We often pray like it's a negotiation. "Lord, if you answer me, I'll go to church every Sunday." We try to bargain with the one who needs nothing from us. But prayer isn't a business contract. It's a conversation. And if there's no answer, maybe it's not God's silence. Maybe it's us who stopped listening. When David was anointed as king, but still running for his life from Saul, he could have asked, "Where is God's promise?" Years passed before he ever saw God's plan unfold. In his Psalms, David never hid his pain. My God, why have you forsaken me?" But even in the silence, he still believed. Why didn't God give Abraham a son right away? Because he was building a nation. Why didn't Moses enter the promised land? Because his mission was different. Why was God silent while Job suffered? Because he was writing a story of great faith. Theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said, "We want to see a miracle, but the real miracle is trust." Abraham waited 25 years for his promised son. Moses, 40 years in the wilderness. Hannah wept before the temple until Samuel was born. So, why do we demand answers right now? God answers in his time. When Lazarus died, his sisters, Martha and Mary, said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." They didn't understand why he waited, why he didn't come sooner. But it was through that delay that God revealed his power by raising Lazarus from the dead. John Piper went through a crisis of faith when his prayers felt useless. But even in the silence, God was at work, strengthening trust. He realized prayer isn't just about saying words, it's about knowing that God values sincerity. Timothy Keller faced a deep spiritual struggle during his illness, and he came to a realization. God doesn't demand flawless faith, he just wants us to come to him, as we are, with our fears, with our doubts. Philip Yancey, author of Disappointment with God, described moments when he felt like God was silent. But through that silence, he found something deeper. It teaches us to trust God even in uncertainty. Maybe God is speaking through people, but we don't notice. Maybe the answer is already there, just not in the way we expected. Sometimes silence is an invitation to grow. Jonathan Edwards once wrote, "But what we would ask for if we knew everything he knows. But how do you trust when everything is falling apart? What do you do when prayer feels useless, when every prayer just echoes into nothing?" Thomas, one of Jesus' disciples, doubted the resurrection. He said, "Unless I see, I will not believe." But Jesus didn't reject him. He appeared to him, because this shows God doesn't condemn our questions. He answers them. Job. He lost everything. His family, his health, his home. His friends told him, "God has abandoned you." But Job kept speaking to God, even in his despair. And in the end he said, "I had heard of you, but now my eyes see you." Mary Magdalene at the tomb. She wept, thinking someone had stolen Jesus' body, not realizing that he was standing right there. Sometimes God's answer is closer than we think. Elijah on Mount Horeb, after his great victory over the prophets of Baal. Elijah fell into despair. He ran into the wilderness, believing God had left him. But God didn't come in the storm, or the earthquake, or the fire. He came in a gentle whisper, because his presence isn't always loud. David's Psalms. Many begin in despair. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? But they end in hope. But I trust in your unfailing love. Charles Spurgeon, one of the greatest preachers of the 19th century, battled depression. In one of the darkest seasons of his life, he said, "I do not feel God, but I know he is here." Spurgeon taught, faith is not an emotion, it's a decision, a choice to trust, even when God seems silent. Francis Schaeffer, a well-known Christian apologist and philosopher of the 20th century, went through a deep spiritual crisis. He wrestled with questions. Is God real? Does Christianity still matter in the modern world? Through that struggle, he found a deeper understanding of faith, and he wrote about it in his book. He is there, and he is not silent. Schaeffer believed God does speak to humanity, and Christianity holds the answers to life's biggest questions. John Stott, a renowned Anglican pastor and theologian, also faced seasons of doubt. He wrestled with questions about his faith. In his book, The Living Church, he shared his experiences in ministry, his struggles, his reflections on the challenges of the modern church. Stott emphasized, faith must be genuine, and spiritual growth, it never stops, even when doubts arise. Timothy Keller, a well-known pastor and theologian, faced one of his greatest trials, cancer. He called it a moment of spiritual rethinking. I have always talked about trusting God, but only now am I truly learning how. Even in his illness, Keller emphasized, faith isn't about seeking an instant answer. It's about long-term trust. Craig Groeschel, founder of Life Church, once shared about a crisis of faith. At the start of his ministry, he expected God to move quickly. Instead, he faced obstacles. It took years for him to understand. God wasn't absent. He was shaping his patience, his trust, consistency in faith, even when you don't feel God. Keep praying, like Daniel did, shifting your focus. Stop chasing feelings, start seeking truth. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Prayer as a dialogue. Augustine, C.S. Lewis. Both saw prayer as an honest conversation with God, not a ritual, not a script, a real dialogue. Remember, answers don't always come quickly. Even Abraham waited 25 years before receiving God's promise of a son. God's silence doesn't mean his absence. Sometimes he speaks in the little things, through people, through delayed answers. The key, don't stop seeking. As Paul said, give thanks in all things, for this is God's will for you. If God gave you an answer, would you even recognize it? C.S. Lewis once wrote, when it seems like God is silent, ask yourself, are you ready to hear what he's saying? Now it's your turn. What will you say thank you for today? You pray, but all you hear is the sound of your own breath, only walls echoing your words, only emptiness that you mistake for indifference. You close your eyes, hoping the darkness will bring an answer, but all you find is the echo of your own questions. We want instant answers, but maybe God doesn't answer the way we expect. Jesus didn't rush to Lazarus, but he still raised him from the dead. Hannah wept for years before Samuel was born. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den before he saw God's deliverance. Abraham waited 25 years for his promised son. What was he thinking all those years? What was his prayer in year 24? God's silence doesn't mean he has forgotten. John the Baptist, locked in prison, sent his disciples to ask Jesus, are you the one who is to come? Or should we wait for another? Even he had doubts. But Jesus didn't condemn him. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before God called him. Why did God wait so long? Maybe, before he changes the world, he changes us. But what is faith in moments of silence? Augustine said, God already knows everything you need. He acts according to his purpose, not our requests. But John Wesley saw it differently. Prayer doesn't change God. It changes us. And if you don't pray, you won't change. So who was right? Does God wait for us to change? Or does he lead us forward, no matter what? Was there ever a time in your life when you knew God was near, but his words felt distant? Have you ever felt like your prayers were left unanswered? How often do we mistake silence for absence? C.S. Lewis, in his book A Grief Observed, once felt certain of God's presence, but when he lost his wife, it seemed like the doors of heaven had slammed shut. Later, he realized, even in silence, there was a purpose. Nick Vujicic was born without arms or legs, and he asked God, "Why me?" But over time, he saw God's plan, and he became an inspiration to millions. Surrender, or keep searching. Wait in faith, or ask the question you're afraid to hear the answer to. But what if God is answering, and you just don't want to hear it? What if the answer is already there, just not the one you were expecting? If God is silent, maybe it's time to ask, who speaks first? What do you think is closer to the truth? Maybe silence isn't the end of the conversation. Maybe it's the beginning. Sometimes God is like a good teacher. You ask, "What should I do?" And he says nothing, because right now, it's your test. Your answer isn't in what you hear, it's in what you do. And what if, at this very moment, God is speaking to you through his silence? Maybe your answer isn't in words. Maybe it's in trust.